Good day, CRC family. Well, we are just so blessed to be part of this incredible church under the leadership of Pastor Art and Pastor Nareta. We thank God for our pastors and we honor them. Pastor Art, thank you for the opportunity to introduce today's discussion with Sean and Managing Director of Sapco Insurance, Dolph Lombard. Pastor Art has been preaching on Let Not Your Heart Be Troubled, and it is so important that we stand upon the Word of God. In today's discussion, Dolph will touch on many of the topics we are receiving, on how to motivate your staff during this time, how to stay connected, and a process that he has followed in order to give advice on financial relief. What is of the utmost importance, as that Pastor Art has said, that now is not the time for isolation. Now is the time to reflect on the way that you do things in your business and then take action by listening to God. The Bible is very clear in James 4 verse 14. It says, faith without works is dead. So you do the possible and God will do the impossible. We want to encourage every one of you to join a business cell. We have many business leaders who will share business principles from the Bible. No man is an island unto himself. And it is in the community of believers that we grow in our walk with God. Please speak to your pastor about getting connected to a business cell. Enjoy today's discussion with Sean and Dolph. Please join the chat. We would love to connect with you and answer some of your questions. Be blessed as you listen to this interview.
Good morning and welcome to this episode of the Business Channel video interviews. Today I'm speaking to Dolph Lombard, who's in the financial services sector and a long-standing member and contributor to our church. Welcome, Dolph.
Thank you, Sean.
So, Dolph, you're in the financial services industry and you have registered your business in this time as a essential service provider. Can you tell us, how do you keep your people motivated when everybody around them is in panic mode or depressed or in lockdown?
Well, Sean, obviously the first thing that came to mind with all the people that worked for me is fear. With this coronavirus, everybody was scared to come to work. Some of the people actually looked forward to this 21-day lockdown break. But being part of essential services, we had to quickly act and tell the people, listen, do you actually know what essential services mean? And essential services mean absolutely necessity or absolutely necessary and cannot do without. And apart from that, being an essential services, it's a privilege to still have a business that have income. So people need to understand the fact that it's a privilege to have a job still, and to motivate the staff was to communicate with them constantly.
So tell me, I have two questions for you, but let's start internally. So now you have your skeleton staff and people working at your branches. How are you communicating with everybody? How are you helping people overcome fear and stress so that they can be productive?
Okay, the two fears people had obviously was the virus. The second fear was not having an income. And maybe this third fear actually, or what actually started to happen, is that's a real life scenario, is we started to have real break-ins in this time where essential services were open, and we had two cases already. So the first thing was to alleviate that fear, to rotate the staff, to tell them to keep the basic principles that is out there, washing your hands, keep the social distancing first of all. And then the second thing was to make sure to tell them that actually by being here, you're keeping the business open. If you're not here, we're gonna your salary is gonna decrease. So people came to understand that. But apart from that, we set up. I set up a group with each and every branch, internally with each branch, and also a total communication channel whereabouts me as and it's absolutely essential to be strong, to have strong leadership in this situation, is to speak to all the people at once and have all those people see what is being said by everybody. And then it's almost like another virus. People pick up on that and they start to motivate each other. And then it's like a mainstream. People jump in that stream and they start actually doing what is possible and keep on doing the possible and actually excelling in what they're doing at the moment.
So tell me about the scenarios that you've been maintaining, that you've been using to plan, and how you've used these scenarios to make sure that your business continues.
Look, like I said, we're in a fortunate position that it is an essential service, but it also, we do have an impact. It does have an impact on our business because people already, when the lockdown started, even before the lockdown started, people did contact us and tell us that, listen, I cannot afford my financial or the premiums anymore. So we had to advise people how to save money, first of all. But second of all is, apart from them how to save money or how to look at their budget and to look at their expenses, how to save that, we also had to look at our current situation, whereabouts we can make sure that we don't lose clients. So by not losing clients, or the way we're doing that is by constantly also communicating with our clients. You know, in a time like this where you've got more time to spend, people really don't attend to certain things, like, for example, are they underinsured? For example, do they have, they call it average. If you're underinsured, the insurance companies, they actually penalize you. So we had to make sure, or we're making sure, that people now fill in certain forms, etc., etc., etc. So we're also growing on that side of the business. And in this time as well, we're also planning for future expansion, because we've got time now actually to see where there's a shortage in certain, let's call it, products that we have available.
So tell me about the different time horizons that you have in your business that you are planning for, because when you and I spoke before this interview, you told me that you're planning in the short term, but you also have a long-term vision, and you're also not just looking optimistically at things. There's also some realities that you have had to consider in your planning.
I've always been a sure believer of faith without action is dead. So we already started investigating the possibility of an extension of a lockdown, and not only, or an extension of the lockdown, but not only for ourselves, also for the clients out there, that we can advise them. So we've got an existing, we're an essential business, we've got the recurring income, but it's out there. You just need to go and ask. So I personally started asking the banks, for example, on payment holidays, on bonds, for example, and it was available. You just need to ask. On commercial bonds, they came back and they gave us a three month period, a payment period. So on your personal loans or your financing, etc., we went to finance houses and insurance companies and we asked them these questions, and it was available. They don't advertise it out there. So we already got this in place to make sure that from an expense perspective that we are well positioned, and also that we can advise people when we get to that situation that it might be an extension of the current lockdown.
So you told me that you've already spoken to the banks about certain loans and commitments that you have to open up the opportunity for you, so that if it is needed, that you can exercise that option, but you didn't now necessarily go and put everything on hold.
No, we didn't actually exercise or took those opportunities that was given to us, but we've investigated the market.
So you've opened
but the different sections of the market, on the insurance side of the market, and also because currently what people are sitting with debt, and they've got repayments, and that's the main thing. The income, there's no income at the moment, so you must look at both. You go back to your budget again, and okay, there's no income at the moment, but go and look at your expenses. So where can you cut your expenses? And it's out there, it's available. You need to speak to your banker, speak to your broker, there's different people that giving and insurance companies and banks that giving payment holidays, but they don't advertise it. So I explored that market specifically.
So tell me about your business continuity. What are you directing your staff to pay particular attention to now? What that they probably don't get time for in your normal business conditions. What are you focusing on now with your skeleton staff? And what are you doing with the people that are working from home? What are your orders or your instructions to them?
The skeleton staff is purely to minimize exposure, but all the people at home are also working. So we keep them accountable. If we don't keep people accountable in this specific essential services scenario where we at, people might get despondent, the other people is doing all the work. So we are monitoring it very closely, what the people are doing at home as well. And what they're doing at the moment is they're really contacting the clients and re-establishing a good relationship with the clients, advising them, for example, in this day and age, if they or this specific time, if they do a revision on the policy, is take off specified items, for example, for a period of 3 weeks, then you save on that. Take your vehicle, for example, and only insure it for third-party fire and theft, and not comprehensive. That must also qualify that if it's financed, then you must it must take comprehensive because the bank's interest is noted on that. Yeah. So that's what they are doing at the moment, and they're also getting the admin in place to make sure that all documentation and all contact details of clients are current and available on our computers.
So you basically directed them towards the things that they often don't get time for in the normal run of business, or that we know people tend to underinvest in when they are busy.
Yeah, not only what we don't get time for, what the clients also don't get time for.
Oh, very good. Okay, clients don't get time.
Yeah, so that's what we try to. We're taking it both ways.
So I want to ask you about the business cells that you're involved with. You're very active in the business community. Can you just explain to me how these cells work, and how do you encourage business leaders to be involved in a business cell?
Sean, I think at this stage, we don't really understand totally. If you part of essential services and you go and drive out there, and you see how quiet it is, it's almost sort of an eerie feeling that you get. You only see it in movies, and then the total reality actually gets to you, and you understand some people don't actually earn an income at the moment, and the only thing they want to do at this stage is maybe just speak to somebody. And sometimes they do, I won't say proud, or scared to ask the question. So in these different business cells, maybe from 8 to 10 or 12 or 15 people, it's essential to connect with the business cells where you are at the moment. And people, they actually ask questions there because they feel comfortable with the people that they are in the business cell. So people just want to speak to somebody at the moment.
So let's just talk about business people and their faith walk. And this would be the last question to you. How do you, as a business person, stay connected with God in your business?
Well, first of all, I need to get the whole business in alignment, or all the staff on the same path. And so what we're doing is we've got a Bible study, or notes that goes out once a week. We have a Bible study. We've got Bible study, we say mornings, with all the branches. Currently what we're doing is we're sending out verses, a verse for the month, to keep all the staff in alignment, to make sure that they all think alike. Okay, so for me personally as well, at this stage, it's also a testing time, because if you show any form of weakness, it will actually, the personnel will pick it up. So you need to be strong in faith as well. But like I said, I'm a firm believer of faith without action is dead. So I'm trying to be proactive, and as I walk or as I walk, I pray. So I do and pray. So I don't wait on God to show me certain things. I'd rather make a mistake and then being put in the right direction at a later stage. That's actually my faith journey. It's to act not before thinking, but act while I'm praying.
Thank you very much for your time, and I pray all the best over your business and all the clients that you are supporting and your staff, and that you will all prosper. May God bless you.
It's only a pleasure. Thank you, Sean.